Anthony Scaramucci, founder and managing partner of SkyBridge Capital. It's great to have you on the broadcast this morning, Anthony. Let's just take on the Jamie Dimon comments first. I'm so curious what your reaction was to that.
Listen, Andrew, he's one of the smartest people in financial services, if not the smartest. So I enjoy listening to him, and I always try to factor in what he's saying. The economy does feel very strong. I don't see how the Fed, though, doesn't cut rates eventually because of the deficit spending problem that the U.S. is facing. And I think those rate cuts will save the economy from going into recession. But, Jamie's a very smart guy. He's smarter than me. And so I always listen to him. Of course, I'm at intellectual odds with him related to Bitcoin. But listen, anytime he speaks, I listen. He's one of the few people, including yourself, that I have on my Google alert.
God bless you. Well, let me ask you this. You just mentioned Bitcoin. He is at odds with you on that subject. I'm not going to say he's been right about Bitcoin. He's probably been wrong about Bitcoin. He might have been right about actually the economy thus far, because he did say that he didn't think there were going to be interest rate cuts coming so quickly. And on that score, he has been 100% correct. On Bitcoin, he's been a lot less correct. We're looking at $56,925 on Bitcoin. We're now, about a month and a half, 2 months after these exchange-traded funds have been up and running and approved. Sort of walk through the math of where you think this all goes.
Well, I mean, the first thing I would say, though, and, because I know Jamie does listen to your show, hopefully he catches this segment, I would just ask him to please do more homework, because people like Paul Tudor Jones or Stan Druckenmiller or somebody like Larry Fink, who's actually done the homework, were perhaps negative on Bitcoin prior to doing the homework. Andrew, it's a one-way ticket towards Bitcoin if you actually do the homework to fully understand the asset. But specifically, if you look at the last 14 years, you usually get a quadruple after a halving. And so Bitcoin right now is trading 57,000. I'm not sure where it'll be on or about April 20th when the halving actually takes place. But let's say it's at 50,000. That would imply over 18 months from the halving a $200,000 Bitcoin price. So the price is going up primarily because there's not a lot of supply out there, and yet you're seeing these Bitcoin ETFs coming into the marketplace with 12 to 14 times what's available in terms of what the network is producing every single day. And so that's why you're seeing this price squeeze. And of course, you do have people that don't believe in Bitcoin that are short Bitcoin. And so they're getting wrecked right now. And I think that's the combination of why you're seeing such great price appreciation.
We were talking to Mike Novogratz, I don't know, I think it was
2 weeks,
about a week and a half ago. And he did make the argument that this is obviously, obviously, it's going to go higher, likely to go higher. Also said he could see a retreat before it goes higher. Where are you on that? Because I think there are a lot of people, frankly, who missed the bus this time round. They felt they were burned the first time round or the second or third time round. How do you see the trading pattern here?
Again, as I've been humbled by life, I've been humbled by markets, humbled by politics. So when I make these predictions, I'm often wrong, but I do feel it's going higher. It's very hard to figure this stuff out in the short term, but I'll leave you with this thought. If gold is a $16 trillion asset and Bitcoin has a lot of the same properties as gold, and I would make a case that it's better than gold because it's easier to move around, it should trade to at least half of that. It's at that $1 trillion right now, and so that would be an 8x. And again, that's from now until 2030. So I can't predict the near term, Andrew, but this is something that we put on in October of 2020. I've got a lot of railroad tracks on my back as a result of putting this on. I mean, I'm happy to report to you guys that our fund has done very well. I mean, past performance is not indicative of future performance, but the last 18 months for SkyBridge have been very good as a result of staying in this. And I think this is a big lesson to investors. If you do the homework, even if you're wrong short term, stay in something, and you'll likely be rewarded if you've got the thing right on fundamentals.
Michael Saylor can tell you about that too, I guess, right, Mooch? He no matter what.
Well, no question. Listen, Michael led me into it. Joe, you probably know this. Michael made his first Bitcoin investment in August of 2020. And I think SkyBridge owes him a great debt because he explained a lot of this to us. He came on during COVID into one of our SALT talks, and we started making our investments in October, a few months after him, at higher prices, I might add.
It is weird, Anthony. It became very, like you said, it became very clear to me the first time I did any homework at all, and it was an hour. That's all it took. And it's a little bit frustrating. I think most people, and it's so easy to be negative on Bitcoin and just call it the beanie babies. But I know that they haven't. I don't think Charlie Munger. I'm almost certain they've never really just looked at a chapter on exactly what the asset is and how it works, or the properties of money over 4,000 years, because there's like 6 or 7 things, and you can just. I mean, money isn't always backed by a government. It's used by society to account for what you do, so you can exchange it for what someone else does. It's that simple, and you can see the properties of it. And it's so elegant. It makes so much sense that I just wish they would do the homework, just like you. That's your answer now. They need to do the homework. You don't even argue.
Just do the homework. But Joe, I'll just offer this out to people. The Ascent of Money by Professor Neil Ferguson goes into that 4,000-year history that you're describing.
Right.
And somebody like Professor Ferguson is a pro-Bitcoiner because Bitcoin checks all of the boxes.
Better
and
than
yeah, better than that. Exactly. And the last point, and you know this, the central banking community has been a little bit of a drunk driver with the money. Just go back to 1971 when we pulled ourselves off the gold standard. The U.S. dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power in 52 years. And so Satoshi Nakamoto in the white paper basically said, look, maybe they're drunk driving with the money, and maybe we can create a decentralized system where the assets are harder. And, Andrew was debating Tom Lee last week. I saw that interview. I guess what I would say to Andrew, read The Ascent of Money, and you'll understand that this decentralized, fully transparent currency is definitely going to rise in value. And again, maybe it won't be the currency standard for the world, but it certainly could replace gold or be alongside of gold as a store of value. And I certainly, Larry thinks that. Right. Otherwise, he wouldn't be out there with his ETF.
So to recap, we've got Bitcoin nearing 57,000, guys. We've got Anthony saying he recommends, quote, doing your homework on Bitcoin. Once you understand it, you'll love it and support it, guys. He said Bitcoin halving coming soon and the price quadruple usually follows. So that's calling for around 200,000 plus in the Bitcoin per coin. He says Bitcoin is better than gold because it's easier to move around, so it should be worth at least half of the total value of gold. That's calling for an 8x in the Bitcoin price. It's worth about $1 trillion. Gold is worth about 16 trillion. So Bitcoin needs to be worth about 8 trillion. He recommends holding Bitcoin for the long term, says don't trade it. That's what he does. Since 1971, when we came off the gold standard, the US dollar has lost 98% of its value, guys. That's just in the last 52 years. He's saying this decentralized, transparent currency will rise in value, unlike the dollar, and will become the standard. And they end it with money isn't always controlled by a government. It's just an object used to trade and spend earned wealth. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what you think about Bitcoin. I'll catch you in the next one.